A Japanese mother sits in the corner of the room. Her 5-year-old is having a meltdown, crying, screaming, throwing himself on the floor. She doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't beg. She doesn't threaten. She doesn't even move toward him. She just waits. To most American moms watching this, that would feel impossible, maybe even wrong. Every instinct in your body wants to rush in, to fix it, to make the noise stop. But here's what's actually happening inside that little boy's brain while his mother sits in silence. Something extraordinary. Something that will shape how he handles stress, frustration, and heartbreak for the rest of his life. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what it is and how to use it starting tonight. Stay with me, because this one changes everything. I want to tell you about a woman named Yuki. She lives in Osaka. She has a 6-year-old daughter named Hana, and Yuki is, by every measure, a calm mother. Not because her daughter is easy. Hana is loud, emotional, wildly determined. She cries when her socks feel wrong. She melts down when her drawing doesn't look the way she imagined it. She is, in every way, a completely normal 6-year-old. But Yuki does something that most Western mothers have never been taught to do. When Hana falls apart, and she does fall apart, just like every child, Yuki gets still. Not cold, not distant, not ignoring her daughter. Still. She moves close. She sits down nearby. She breathes slowly. And she says almost nothing. She might say one quiet word, "I'm here." And then she waits. She told a researcher studying Japanese family culture something that stopped me completely. She said, "If I fill every silence with my anxiety, my daughter learns that silence is dangerous. But if I sit with her in the quiet, she learns that hard feelings have an end." Let that sit for a moment. If I fill every silence with my anxiety, my daughter learns that silence is dangerous. That is the entire philosophy behind what Japanese child psychologists call MA, M-A-A. And it is quietly, powerfully, scientifically rewiring children's brains in ways that Western parenting is only now beginning to understand. So, what exactly is Ma? In Japanese culture, Ma means the meaningful pause, the intentional space between things. It's used in music, in architecture, in conversation. The silence that makes the note matter, the space that gives a room its breath. And Japanese mothers apply it to parenting in the most precise, counterintuitive way imaginable. They use silence as a tool, not punishment, not withdrawal, not coldness, a deliberate, loving, present silence, at the exact moments when a Western mother's instinct would be to rush in, talk more, fix faster. And here's where the neuroscience becomes impossible to ignore. When your child is having a big emotion, anger, frustration, sadness, fear, their brain's alarm system, the amygdala, is flooded. They're in what researchers call emotional flooding. In that state, the thinking brain, the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for reasoning, regulation, and calming down, is essentially offline. It cannot hear logic. It cannot process instructions. It cannot respond to calm down. It physically cannot. But here's what it can do. It can reset, on its own, given one thing: space. When a mother rushes in with words, with solutions, with heightened energy of her own, even loving, well-intentioned energy, she is adding more stimulation to a brain that is already overwhelmed. She is, without meaning to, keeping the alarm system on. But when a mother gets quiet, gets still, stays present without adding noise, the child's nervous system begins to co-regulate with hers. This is a real neurological process. Researchers call it co-regulation. The calm nervous system of the parent literally signals safety to the child's flooded brain. Like two tuning forks. When the calm one is placed next to the vibrating one slows down, without a word being said. This is what Yuki was doing. Not ignoring Hana, not being passive. She was being the calm that her daughter's brain needed to borrow. Now, and I want you to hear this part carefully, Ma is not silent forever. It is not the silent treatment. It is not withholding love or connection. It has 3 very specific moments, and each one does something different to a child's brain. The first moment is what Japanese mothers call the pause before response. When your child does something wrong, breaks something, hits a sibling, lies, the instinct is to react immediately, to correct, to lecture, to punish in the moment of highest emotion. Japanese mothers pause first. sometimes for just 3 to 5 seconds, a breath, a beat of stillness before they speak. That pause does two things. It keeps the mother's own amygdala from flooding, because when we react in anger, our brain is flooded too, and we say things we don't mean. And it signals to the child that what comes next is deliberate, considered, worth listening to. Research from the University of Oregon found that parents who introduced even a brief intentional pause before disciplining had children who were significantly more likely to actually hear and absorb the correction, rather than just shutting down defensively. 3 to 5 seconds. That's it. Just breathe first. The second moment is the pause during the meltdown. This is the one that feels impossible. When your child is screaming, falling apart, completely overwhelmed, and you sit down near them, get quiet, and wait. Not across the room, near them. Close enough that your calm body is in their nervous system's range. You might say one sentence. I'm right here. Take your time. And then you stop talking. Because here is what talking does in that moment. It gives the flooded brain something new to react to. Your words become another stimulus in an already overwhelmed system. But your quiet presence, that is safety without stimulation. And safety is the only thing that ends a meltdown. Japanese mothers know something Western culture forgot. You cannot talk a child out of a feeling. You can only sit with them until it passes. And when it does pass, because it always does, that is when you talk. When the brain is back online. When the words can actually land. The third moment is the intentional quiet in daily life. This one surprised me most. Japanese homes are, on average, significantly quieter than American ones. Not because Japanese families are cold or disconnected. If you have ever seen a Japanese family together, you know they are deeply warm. But there is a cultural comfort with silence that most Western homes simply do not have. American households often fill every moment. The TV running in the background, music on in the car, constant chatter, constant noise. And researchers studying childhood stress levels found something striking. Children in consistently high-noise environments showed chronically elevated cortisol, the stress hormone, even when they were not directly stressed about anything. The noise itself was keeping their nervous systems in a low-level state of alert, all day, every day. Japanese children who grow up with regular, comfortable daily silence develop what researchers call a higher baseline calm. Their nervous systems learn that quiet is safe, that nothing needs to happen right now, that the world does not require constant reaction. And a child whose nervous system has a higher baseline calm, that child handles stress better, recovers from frustration faster, sleeps better, learns better, connects better, all from silence. Here is the hardest truth of this video. The reason most Western mothers don't use don't use the pause, the stillness, the quiet, is not because they don't care. It's because our own discomfort with silence is enormous. When our child is upset, our own nervous system floods. We feel their pain like it is our pain. And our instinct to make the noise stop, to fix, to soothe, to fill the silence, that instinct comes from love, but it also comes from our own anxiety. And when we rush in from anxiety, we teach our children without meaning to, that big feelings are emergencies, that silence is something to be afraid of, that they cannot sit inside a hard emotion without someone rescuing them from it. Japanese mothers, through teach the opposite. They teach, you can feel this. You are strong enough to feel this. I am here, and I am not afraid of your feelings, so you don't have to be afraid of them either. That lesson, absorbed again and again from infancy, becomes the architecture of an emotionally resilient brain. Not because the child never struggled, but because every time they struggled, they were shown in silence, in stillness, in presence, that they could come through the other side. So here is what I want you to try this week. Just one thing. The next time your child has a big feeling, melts down, gets angry, falls apart, before you speak, before you move, before you fix anything, breathe. Take one slow breath. Get still. Move close to them. Say just one sentence. I'm right here. And then stop talking. Let the quiet do what words cannot. You don't have to be perfect at this. You're going to want to fill the silence. I promise you, every part of you will want to. That feeling is normal. That is your own nervous system talking. But if you can stay quiet for even 30 seconds longer than you normally would, you are doing something extraordinary for your child's brain, something that will last long after the meltdown is forgotten. Come down to the comments and tell me, does silence feel hard for you? Because I think it does for most of us, and I want to hear how this goes when you try it. If this video made you think differently about one moment in your parenting, please share it with one mom who needs to see it today. She might be in the middle of the hardest season of motherhood, and this might be exactly what changes things for her. And if you want more videos like this, where we take what the world's wisest cultures know about raising children and bring it home, hit subscribe. I put out a new video every Thursday. Take care of yourself, mama. You are not just calming your child. You are teaching them in the most powerful language there is, the language of your own stillness, that they are safe, that feelings end, and that they are strong enough to feel everything life brings them. That is not nothing. That is everything.